Hey everybody, welcome to Trading Capital's exclusive analysis. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the crypto market, Bitcoin, some variety of stocks like Coinbase, MicroStrategy. Let's dive right into Bitcoin. So on the daily chart of Bitcoin, you can see this pattern is actually not that bad. Technically speaking, this is consolidating above a key support level, which I'll zoom out and show you. This is your big level where you hit your multi-pivot zone. As long as you hold this 29,000 level, Bitcoin, I believe, can actually move higher, which is one of the reasons I actually just went long coin with my members today. So Coinbase is putting in that very similar pattern. It's had a harsh pullback from the highs. It still has an upside target based off of this basing formation, this inverse head and shoulders. What I want to show you here on this chart is you have this big left shoulder, you have a big head, you have a nice basing right shoulder that broke out, and the upside target takes you all the way up to 137, give or take. Now, it's not a guarantee that that pattern plays out, but when you've had an impulse breakout candle, and then you've had now 4 weeks, I stand corrected, 4 weeks of an inside controlled pullback on declining volume, now hitting technical support. This makes a lot of sense to me to get on the long side of Coinbase, especially when you factor in the yield market has sold off tremendous, or has rallied tremendously. The big reversal in the dollar today saw markets have a little bit more of a sell-off. So even though the dollar looks poised to move higher, it's still at resistance here, and it has not completely broken out of that. So right now, technically speaking, the dollar should still consolidate. Even though I do think it moves higher, we just have to wait for a few more trading sessions to get a bigger piece of the puzzle. But looking at the grand pattern of Bitcoin, this is actually a weekly chart pattern. I think there's going to be one more pop on Bitcoin, testing or taking out this brief high here at 31.8, and then I think we see a little bit of a bigger sell-off. Now, on the technical side, this is an upsloping wedge pattern, which is notoriously bearish, but in the micro picture, you have a nice weekly bull flag pattern that is actually trying to break out. And believe it or not, I'm very impressed with the relative strength in Bitcoin, despite the indices having a hard sell-off over the last couple weeks, and despite the dollar rallying up tremendously to the next resistance level. But what I'm looking at here on the Bitcoin chart, this is the one trend line that I want to keep paying attention to. This is your breakout trend line. You haven't confirmed on the daily chart, but this is inside pullback. You're just touching support again, and I like the fact that even though the markets were under pressure today, pulling off of the highs substantially, I like the fact that Bitcoin held up. It had relative strength. Despite it's still negative on the session, it is actually holding up. And then let's zoom into the intraday pattern that I'm watching right now. So there's a little bit of a micro inverse head and shoulders pattern here, which has broken out and confirmed on the 10-minute chart. This upside target really takes you to about, let's just give or take, just doing this really quickly, this takes you to about 29.6 on the chart. So there should be a little bit more upside in the immediate term for Bitcoin, and then that's going to be a big level. Can you break out of this downsloping trend line once we complete the upside of this inverse head and shoulders? That's the big question, but I do think that markets could be poised for a little bit more of a technical bounce in the next session or two, especially since we got the big CPI out of the way, and CPI actually came in lower than what the market was anticipating. So we may see a little bit more of a snapback by the dip in the coming sessions. On that note, thank you all for tuning in. Please give this video a big like down below, and definitely keep your eye on Bitcoin, because it often leads, and it sometimes lags, but it often can lead the price action of semiconductors, QQQ, tech, just due to its risk factor as an asset.